Picture this. It's a random Tuesday morning. You're standing in line at the grocery store, and the person in front of you is having a minor disagreement with the cashier over a coupon. You're running late for work. Your boss has already sent you 3 "Where are you?" Slack messages, and you realize you forgot to check your bank balance before you left the house. Suddenly, you feel that familiar cold pit in your stomach. You start doing mental math. If I buy these groceries, will the rent check clear on the 1st? Did that subscription for the gym I never go to come out this morning? You pull out your phone, hand shaking slightly, to refresh your banking app. That feeling, that's not a money problem, that's a leverage problem. Most people look at net worth like a scoreboard in a game they don't really know how to play. They think $10,000 is nothing, $100,000 is a lot, and $1 million is the dream. But here's the thing, and look, I'm going to be honest with you. Most people are completely wrong about what these numbers actually do for your life. They don't just buy you stuff, they buy you different versions of freedom. My name is Sal, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of wealth and how we can actually use math to stop worrying. If you're someone who feels like you're running on a treadmill that's slowly speeding up and you're tired of the hustle culture lies, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Today, we're breaking down the 3 major milestones of net worth: $10,000, $100,000, and $1 million. We're going to talk about the math, the specific stats that should scare you and motivate you, and most importantly, the psychological shift that happens at each level. Phase 1, the $10,000 milestone. Now, you might be thinking, Sal, $10,000 doesn't even buy a decent used car these days. Why are we starting here? Here's what most people don't realize. The jump from $0 to $10,000 is actually the most significant psychological shift you will ever experience in your financial life. According to a recent survey by Bankrate, 57% of Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense from their savings. Think about that. Over half the country is one blown transmission or one broken tooth away from a high-interest credit card spiral. What $10,000 actually buys you? Oxygen. When you hit $10,000 in net worth, ideally sitting in a high-yield savings account, you aren't buying a Rolex, you're buying the end of panic. Look, before I hit this milestone, every weird noise my car made sounded like a personal attack on my future. But at 10K, the check engine light is no longer a life-altering catastrophe. It's just an annoying Saturday afternoon at the mechanic. The math of $10,000. Let's look at the numbers. If you have $10,000 and your monthly expenses are $3,000, you have 3.3 months of life insurance for your current lifestyle. Cost of stress? High. Leverage? Low. Psychological state? Defensive. This is the survival phase. The mistake people make here is they hit $10,000 and they think, I've made it, I can finally upgrade my lifestyle. No, this money is not for spending. This money is your shield. If you aren't here yet, your only job is to stop the leaks. You need to look at your bank statement and realize that your $15 daily lunch habit is literally stealing your oxygen money. Phase 2, the $100,000 milestone. This is where it gets really interesting. The jump from 10K to 100K is arguably the hardest grind in the world of finance. Charlie Munger, the legendary investor, famously said that the first 100K is a total bitch, but you have to do it. Why? Because this is where the math stops being about your work and starts being about the money's work. Here's the thing, if you have $10,000 and it grows by 7%, the historical inflation-adjusted return of the S&P 500, you made $700. That's fine, I guess. It buys you a new TV, but it doesn't change your life. However, when you have $100,000 and it grows by 7%, you just made $7,000 while you were sleeping, watching Netflix, or arguing with people on X. That $7,000 is likely 2 months' worth of your salary. What $100,000 actually buys you? Mobility. At 100K, you have what I call walk-away power. Now, you might be thinking, Sal, I can't retire on 100K, and you're right, but you can quit a toxic boss. You can tell a client who treats you like garbage to go find someone else. The psychological shift, the transition from defense to offense. At 10K, you're playing defense, trying not to lose. At 100K, you start playing offense. You're no longer asking, how do I survive? You're asking, where should I deploy my capital? Here is where most people fail. They reach $50,000 or $60,000 and they get tired. They see their friends buying the new Bronco or going on the $8,000 Maldives vacation and they think, what am I doing this for? I'm still working 40 hours a week. Look, this is the boring middle, but if you stop now, you never reach the point where the money becomes an engine. 100K is the point where the engine finally turns over and starts idling. Phase 3, the $1 million milestone, the sovereignty of time. We've reached the 2 comma club, and I want to address an objection right out of the gate. People love to say, Sal, $1 million isn't what it used to be. Inflation has ruined it. Okay, sure, $1 million won't buy you a super yacht in Monaco, but do you know what $1 million does buy you? Total sovereignty. If we follow the Trinity study, the gold standard for retirement planning, a $1 million portfolio invested in a diversified mix of stocks and bonds can safely provide you with roughly $40,000 a year, adjusted for inflation, for the rest of your life. For the average person, $40,000 a year covers the big 3: housing, transportation, and food. The luxury of no. This is the most powerful thing money can buy. It's not the Ferrari, it's the ability to wake up on a Monday morning and realize that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. At 1 million, you have escape velocity. You have officially escaped the gravity of the labor market. You work because you choose to, not because you need to. Here's what most people don't realize about millionaires. Most of them don't look like millionaires. They're not the guys posting hustle videos from a rented mansion. They're the people in 10-year-old Toyotas who have a $1.2 million brokerage account and haven't felt a twinge of financial anxiety in a decade. When you hit this level, the status game starts to look incredibly silly. You realize that the guy driving the $100,000 Mercedes on a $70,000 salary is actually a slave to his debt. You, on the other hand, own your 24 hours. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. There's a famous study from Princeton that suggested emotional well-being rises with income, but only up to about $75,000 a year, though newer data suggests it keeps rising but with diminishing returns. The same logic applies to net worth. The jump in happiness from negative $5,000, debt, to plus $10,000, safety, is astronomical. It's the difference between drowning and standing on solid ground. The jump from $100K to $1 million is fantastic, but it's more of a slow burn of satisfaction. It's the quiet realization that you are free. But here's the secret no one tells you. If you're miserable at 10K because you haven't figured out your purpose, you'll be just as miserable at 1 million. You'll just have a nicer view of your misery. Money is a magnifier. It makes you more of who you already are. Actionable steps. How to move between phases. Okay, Sal, this sounds great, but I'm at $2,000 and I'm struggling. I hear you. Here is the roadmap. From 0 to 10K, this is a behavioral problem. You need to track every cent. Use an app, use a spreadsheet, I don't care. You need to find the fat in your budget and cut it with a chainsaw until you have that 3-month safety net. From 10K to 100K, this is an income and consistency problem. You cannot save your way to 100K on a 30K salary. You need to increase your value to the market. Take the course, get the certification, or start the side hustle. And then, this is the key, invest the difference. Don't let lifestyle creep eat your gains. From 100K to 1 million, this is a patience problem. Once you hit 100K, the heavy lifting is mostly done. Now, you just need to let the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest, do its thing. Stop checking your portfolio every day. Go for a walk, play with your kids, let the math work. Look, I know the world feels expensive right now. I know the headlines are scary. But here's the thing, the math hasn't changed. The physics of money hasn't changed. If you start today, not tomorrow, not after your next raise, but today, you are putting yourself on a path towards sovereignty. You are buying back your future self's time. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. You've hit that 100K mark. You're standing in that same grocery store line. The person in front of you is arguing. Your boss is slacking you, but instead of that cold pit in your stomach, you just smile. You check your phone, see your dividends have hit, and you realize you're going to be just fine. That feeling is worth every sacrifice you make today. My name is Sal. Stop spending your future to impress people you don't even like. I'll see you in the next one.